Hi, welcome you all to Testing with RK. In this session, we will be talking about web automation testing, Selenium with C#. This is an introduction session, and in this session, we will be purely trying to understand what is Selenium, how does it fit in with the other components, and what makes a great test framework. Now, the moment I say Selenium, a lot of people do ask the very first question is that should they learn Selenium with Java, C#, Python, Ruby, JavaScript, and so on and so forth. The question, it's a great question, but you have to, in order to come to a conclusion, you have to first understand what Selenium is and what is the objective we are trying to achieve using Selenium. The prime goal of web automation testing is actually taking the understanding of the tester and automating that process. And it is very crucial in this aspect just to understand Selenium and the other components with any programming language. So if I switch to this diagram here, now if we look at this particular diagram, you will say Selenium with C#. To get proficient with automating things, automating web with C# and Selenium, one has to understand the very basic and fundamental concepts in C#. C# is huge, it's vast, and there are so many elements that you can do with it. But for the purpose of our web automation, we only need a very small subset of it. We need to understand what variables are, what classes are, what objects are, object-oriented programming. So the object-oriented programming includes like encapsulation, inheritance. And I know for someone who has never done any sort of programming, it can be quite overwhelming looking at all these concepts. But trust me, once you know all these concepts, the object-oriented programming, you can pretty much apply it to any other modern programming language. You look at Java, you look at JavaScript, Python, Ruby. All these languages they do support object-oriented programming. So my point is that it doesn't matter whether you automate with Java or C# or Python, Ruby, JavaScript. You have to pick a programming language and interact with Selenium. Selenium is not a web automation tool. Selenium is not a testing tool. Selenium is purely a set of APIs. Selenium WebDriver, precisely, Selenium WebDriver is purely a set of APIs that can automate the browser. Okay, the testing part is still coming from a tester. So recently I've been going through a lot of job adverts, and I'm looking at the description in this job advert and the requirements. It gets me upset to see that a lot of these job description has so many things about technical requirements like a knowledge of C# and Gherkin and SpecFlow and so on, but no requirements about testing. Whether you are an automation tester or manual tester, the top skill for both of them should be the testing, the way we look at things, the things that we automate, the way we look at out of the box. So Selenium is purely web automation APIs. What makes the web automation testing is the understanding of the tester using C#, coding it, and applying it to Selenium. We will understand in a great detail in this tutorial, but for a very high level, please understand that Selenium is a set of APIs that can be consumed with C#, Java, Python, or any other modern programming language. And for this tutorial we are picking up C#, and subsequently we will see after this tutorial we will be building more tutorials with other programming languages, and you will find the similarities in it. It is pretty much straightforward. A good testing framework will have the logging mechanism. So for example, when you're running your test scripts, if the tests fail, why did they fail? Capturing all the stack trace, all the possible reasons why the test broke, so that we can report it back to the development team and help them to identify the bug responsible for it. You would see I have put two options here, log4net and Serilog. Both of them does the same job. One has got more feature than the other, and you don't have to learn both, but one will do. Please try to understand that one does not have to learn all these elements here. It's one of each branch. They're all aiming to do the same thing, and our aim as an automation tester is still testing. It's not it's not just building the test, but building a high quality test. Reporting, so this is to report how many tests we ran, how many of them failed, how many of them passed. If they failed, in the reports we can put the screenshots when they failed. We can add the stack traces as well. So we have got extend report and LU reporting in this niche. Then we have got something called spec flow. Spec flow is basically a C# implementation of Cucumber. Now you might have heard, if you're looking at market right now, you must have heard this word Cucumber or behavior driven development. We will get to that aspect as well in this tutorial. For now, please understand that the Cucumber it was an open source but now owned by SmartBear, and it has an implementations in Java, JavaScript, Python, Ruby, C#, and all other languages. And in C# it is known as SpecFlow. What it is, and how it can make your test more readable is something that we will learn in the later sessions. Then I have something very interesting, CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment. For this, there are so many in the market. I have randomly picked 3, out of which we will be, in this course, we will be looking at Azure DevOps, because it's really picking up in the market, and Azure DevOps has got this brilliant ecosystem where it can bind all the user stories, all the logs on it, automate those tests. You can use Azure DevOps for running your Java, your Selenium test built in Java, Selenium test built in C#, Selenium test built in JavaScript. Azure DevOps is one single place to go. It is brilliant, and we will see in our sessions what it can do. Test framework. Now, as I said before, the Selenium itself is a set of, the Selenium WebDriver is a set of APIs. It can automate the browser, but in order to run those things, we need a test framework that can perform these actions. And in C# we usually have XUnit, MSTest, NUnit, which are quite popular. We will explore all these options in detail in our later sessions, but for now, please do understand that it is not difficult to automate your test. The kind of libraries and the help that is available online is absolutely brilliant. In order for you to get onto automating web with C#, the first step would be to learn the basics of C#, and we will go step by step. The way this goes is designed is that we will understand one simple concept, and then there will be a set of questions that you can do in your own time. The key here is to practice these basics as much as possible, because that's how you build your understanding of C#. Once we are complete this session, we can move on to the other bits. So for now, thank you. If you do like this video, please hit that like, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell icon for further notification. Thank you, and see you in the next session.